Hi there, kids. This is FNGR, and this week we're talking with Andrewkful. You may not know the name, but he's done some animation work for the Nostalgia Critic, as well as his own channel, where he does an animation called Tidbits. I highly recommend you check it out. Today our co-hosts include the Burning Donut, British Ninja, as well as Antony C, who shows up about 15 minutes or so. I went through second by second with this podcast and put a lot of love and effort into making the best product I could, because Andrew's work is criminally underappreciated. Please strongly consider giving him a watch. Thank you.
And I guess we're waiting for one other person?
I don't know. He seems
Yeah.
like a nobody.
Okay.
No. Just some guy.
Yeah.
Just some guy.
Did you know Antony C?
Antony C? Sure, I know about him.
Yeah, I found he originally was patroning you for a while, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Okay,
and
yeah.
I looked at your stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, he's pretty good. All right then,
Right.
let's just do the intro. We could back up for whenever.
Anthony actually still follows me on my YouTube channel. He's still subscribed, and I don't upload often a lot, like maybe once every month or 2 months or something.
Oh, sir, so that's still
Yeah.
faster than Hot Diggity Demon. You're in good company.
Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, this is FNGR. Welcome you all to Limbo Podcast, joined by the following co-hosts: British Ninja,
Hey.
the Burning Donut,
Hey.
and this week's King of Limbo, Andrewkful.
It's Kaiko. You
Kaiko.
pronounced it almost correctly.
All right then.
Ah.
Sorry about that.
It's Kaiko.
So, before I get away with this, I believe British Ninja said he had a series of questions he wanted to lead out because he's
Alright.
a huge fan.
I
Oh, great.
looked at a lot of your animations. Yeah, they're pretty high standard, to be honest.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I was going to say, what's your favorite style of animation? Because from your trailer on your YouTube channel, there is a wide variety of different styles and colors. And
Yeah, a friend of mine once said that I'm very good at copying other styles. And I do have my own style, which you can actually see in my original characters, Norman Corey, which is short, which I have on Vimeo, called Orbis Park, which also shows that same style. And it's sort of this cross between Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera, I'd say. But I do like to animate characters very fluidly. I'm a fan of the classical era of animation. And even though I do all my animation digitally now, I like to, copy that look and that way of a way of making characters move. Recently, though, I've been trying to train myself in Toon Boom Harmony, which is very good for cutout animation. Every so often, I fiddle with different processes of how to get different kinds of movement. And right now, I'm experimenting with how to make cutout animation fluid enough while still knowing pretty much the intermediate levels. I'm not familiar with any of the advanced stuff yet, which unfortunately you really need if you want to conveniently turn a character around, which should be simple, but is actually very not. It's actually very convoluted in Harmony. I'm getting there, though.
Say, Donut, you said you were familiar with Andrew's channel and some of his work that you've seen elsewhere. Did you have any questions in regards to that?
I have one. I don't know how appropriate of a question it is because I noticed you had a lot of animation from a cartoon called Kappa Mikey. What exactly did you do on that series?
That was a little-known Nicktoon from the 2006 to 2008 era. And
I know.
Yeah,
That's why I was asking. I was like, oh,
okay.
wait a minute. I
Right.
know about this cartoon.
my role in that was layout and animation. Now, there are two styles of animation in that show, a pseudo-American style and a very anime-esque style. And I was the huge group assigned to the anime style, which meant that for any file that we got, each file contained several shots, we were responsible for getting any anime character who appeared in those shots to move. And layout is basically the step right before animation where you pose all the characters, and make sure all the characters are in proportion and to scale with each other.
have you ever lost your work while animating? Has there ever been a time where you're nearly done and then it all crashes down?
That has happened to me, not a lot
gosh.
actually, but it has happened to me. I save almost obsessively. It's like a habit of mine right now. I don't usually use auto save because this is just easier for me. Sometimes, on the very few times, we animated in Macromedia Flash, which is an early version of Flash. We were still using Macromedia when they came out with Adobe, so it was horribly outdated. It did crash sometimes. Oftentimes, though, I never lost work. I did lose work on a few occasions when I was working on my own personal work, when it just crashed and I was like, oh no, I have to do everything for all over.
That's got to be the
again.
worst feeling.
What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. feel horrible. And that's when you have to go outside and take a walk and get a drink of water, or maybe that other
A strong drink.
or maybe that other kind of drink that you just that you
Would you say
Maybe-
your biggest regret comes from either
watch some Let's Plays online and just go back the day later and do the same thing over again when you feel better. So
would you say your biggest hardship either comes from the project, or is there any specific one you'd point back and going, I wish this never happened?
is there you mean anything that I regret doing?
Yes.
Not really. I don't really regret doing anything. I'm not going to sugarcoat when I say that a lot of the work that I've done was kind of not good. I'm still just starting out. In fact, every animator just is pretty much starting out. The only thing you can do is just get better on your own. But in terms of I never got promoted to anything, which is strange. In this day and age, you can't really get promoted to anything, at least at the places I worked at. So if you want a position, you just have to go for that particular position. You asked if there was anything I regretted doing. To sum up, I don't really regret doing anything, but I did like doing some things more than others.
What appeals to you intellectually?
Yeah.
I am very interested in the whole philosophy and science of just knowledge, knowing stuff. My original story, Norman Corey, which is the original story that stayed with me the longest up to today, that is concerned with the theme of knowledge and what does it mean to be aware of stuff? What does it mean to be? How can that improve your life or not improve your life? All the stories are focused around that. Norm is a chipmunk who is very knowledgeable, and he has books, and he's very into the philosophies from humans, and he's trying to share this knowledge while traveling through the forests in a world where nobody else appreciates that because they're animals. All I gotta do is run around and mate and go to sleep and die or kill stuff.
Well, since we mentioned this before, what's your favorite drink, sir?
My favorite drink?
Yes, sir.
Drink. I'm more of a beer guy than a wine guy because I'm more familiar with beers and I drink more of it. But
Nice.
I'm not familiar with a lot of draft beers because there are way too many. I like Sam Adams and I like Heineken. I'm getting more into Blue Moon, and
That's wheat, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And sometimes I go to Vermont and I like to eat some local beers there.
Eat.
Eat.
There must be some really hoppy beers.
No, I drink.
Has there been any animated film that's come out in in recent years or stuff that's really impressed you on the level of animation that's gone into it? Maybe.
Actually, I remember going to see Coraline, which is stop motion, and
yeah, of course.
I remember thinking that as being the most gratifying and enjoyable trip to a 3D movie wearing 3D glasses I have ever experienced. I don't know what it is. Something about the way they made the way they edited everything and made the animation. It really complemented itself to seeing it in 3D with the glasses. I don't know why. More than other films that I've seen.
That's the one with
I don't think I've ever felt that way since.
Button eyes, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
It's the button eyes. You get sucked into that world, and then you try to get out of it, but the witch tries to grab you back and not make you leave and try. But
No, I thought that was a refreshingly dark children's animation.
Yeah, I think the whole plasticine feel of it, of all the characters in the world, it really gives it that sort of unsettling vibe.
For some reason, there's a stigma of stop motion films always being scary, and it's either scariness or Christmas special, and either one of those things. And I wonder why. I guess seeing that kind of movement always at all perfect, that almost looks CG, but is not. The movements aren't totally perfect because it has a human touch to it. I guess there is something unsettling about that.
Well, it's not only that, but they're often lighted a certain way to where they look creepy. The real reason is because they don't want to get too much detail in the models and stuff. So they were originally kept fairly dark. If you've ever seen the Adventures of Mark Twain is a pretty good example. It would be slightly darker that the models weren't.
I was thinking of the early Wallace and Gromit. It was the one where they had all the sheep, and it was most of it took place at nighttime, and it was this really unsettling night with this dog holding a knife trying to kill.
I think Chicken Run is the best movie they've ever made, actually, because unfortunately the movies that Aardman made after that never really came close to the quality of that. Unfortunately,
I did actually find myself liking the one where they did it was pirates and scientists.
Mainly just called, it was in the United States, it's either called Pirates or Pirates Band of Misfits, because apparently you can't put scientists in an American movie title. But whatever. Britain, in Great Britain, it's called something like Tale of Pirates with Scientists. Hollywood, abbreviated short, vague Hollywood movies is a real big pet peeve of mine. Let's see, other animation that's recent that in terms of hand-drawn stuff, I love the animation of The Princess and the Frog. This stems from just my adoration of those two directors in general, all the way The Little Mermaid and Aladdin. Let's see. I really like the animation over the garden wall, too.
When you said hand-drawn, is that... What? You said hand-drawn, is that a favorite of yours?
Hand-drawn?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the style I like to go with on my personal projects.
That's the only style, jerks.
I've had some reviewers who go completely lose their mind for hand-drawn animations.
That's what I like to do on my personal projects. Like, I know a little bit of CGI, but only the basics, and I have not used that in a long time, since like 3 years ago. But yeah, I think every kind of animator should know CGI, at least the basics of it, because it really helps you to see things in 3 dimensions that you probably had never thought of beforehand. At least know the basics of it.
Speaking of other sort of animators, what would you say to aspiring animators that want to sort of get into the field but aren't so sure about animating or their drawing talents? Yeah.
Animation as a field isn't just animating. You could write, you could storyboard, you could lay out, do concept design, which is basically an illustrator's job. You could do all that. So I'd say there's even a ton more opportunities to do all those than just the act of actually moving a character or effects. These days, actually animating pays you the least.
Yeah, publishing is sort of...
Which never really made sense to me.
It doesn't.
It's on the screen, like I did that on the screen, you know?
Basically, because they're usually the lowest rank on the... So it's like, you know, because like the higher up people are the people who've been in the industry for a while. Like, well, I wrote the story and I own the copyrights and I blah, blah, blah. They're just the people that like draw it for me.
Well, it seems a little reversed, actually.
It's like
YouTube, the animator is actually the one.
It's like that quote from the Ren and Stimpy show where Ren asks Stimpy what a producer is, and Stimpy's like, "The producer hires an animator to make all the movements, and when it's done, he takes all the credit." Wow, even in the early 90s, they got it dead on. It's also something Ralph Bakshi has been fighting for decades, too. Fighting with companies. Even today, he keeps telling everyone that the real gratifying thing is to see your own work on screen and have everyone know that you made it.
What's the most useful criticism you've gotten as an animator?
The advice that going into animation is hard work. And it sounds very basic and obvious, but it's something that you probably don't really know exactly what it means until you get out there and try to do some jobs for yourself. I heard that in college. In fact, I was told that many times in college. And this was in like 2005, 2006, when Disney was like almost on the verge of collapse with their animation department. But, you know, being the idealistic guy that I was like, oh, yeah, Disney isn't only one studio in the world. I'll try to go for like one of the smaller studios because that makes sense. You know, I'm just starting and work my way up to the bigger ones. Now I'm thinking I probably should have tried out for CalArts.
What's some of the more hurtful remarks that you've gotten maybe in YouTubes or elsewhere?
The way my first job ended was actually very harsh. The company hard financial times and they had to lay off all the creatives. I did get to work with them again 3 years or 4 years later on a new show for 10 months in 2012, but by then they had no budget to get any of the animators in remotely. And any of the animators in-house. So we all had to work remotely. I worked from my home or from a co-working studio that I still go to. That was a lot of fun, though. It was fun, like, a bit of closure, trying to work on a project with them again, even though I never stepped into the studio. So that was pretty harsh, but I think I've handled endings well with jobs right now. Handled them better. I've grown accustomed to accepting that jobs end, and then that's an opportunity to find other jobs.
Are you in work now? Who have you moved on to?
Who have I moved on to?
Yeah, have you got a different company?
Yeah. For a full-time job, I work at an advertising agency right now where I still do animation, and sometimes I do cartoons, but oftentimes it's not related to entertainment. What I do in terms of cartoon work is more of a hobby right now. I have a Patreon account set up, and I just finished a web series, a 13-episode web series last month for Patreon, and I'm still brainstorming another series of some kind that I could use, either maybe another animated show or a comic or series of illustrations. It doesn't have to be animation. I'm still brainstorming right that now. And I'm also doing small scale work like one-shot illustrations and comics too. Yeah.
Do you ever run into writer's block?
Of course not.
No. Only the past 7 years of my life. That's what happened to the Norman Corey comic. Because before I made the animated short, it was based on a comic. It's been on a hiatus 7 or 8 years. Well, not because of writer's block. I wrote myself into a corner, but also dissatisfied with how the art was evolving. I found a bunch of loopholes that didn't make sense to me, that I birthed on my own volition and couldn't fix with any new writing, and I couldn't think of an ending, and blah, 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 and I couldn't find a way to monetize it, all these different things, and I didn't have enough time. I had to look for work. Eventually, an animated short and a web series came out of it, and I don't think that's the last time we'll see of Norman Corey either. We'll see.
Oh, when push comes to shove and stuff like that, you can always just retcon it and then start over.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, it was a dream, I swear.
Yeah.
And then he woke up,
That's been done
It's
with.
all a dream.
You have to forgive my good friend here, British Ninja. He's a Doctor Who fan. They just paint that stuff everywhere.
Actually, retconning is done with pretty much all superheroes now, so
Yeah.
whatever.
How many times has Superman died again?
I can't be bothered to remember.
I don't know.
Exactly.
What's your favorite animated character?
Well, I do like the genie from Aladdin. That animation was what got me interested in pursuing this as a career in the first place. Other types of animation, that casts a wide net, guys. I'm gonna have to think long about that.
I'll tell you what. Let's do it like this. We can go down from Disney, Warner Brothers, DreamWorks.
Okay, yeah, I do love the Looney Tunes, of course, and I wish they made a good Looney Tunes movie. For
Woo!
once.
Oh,
Ooh.
snap.
Baby.
I didn't mind back in action.
Whoa!
Actually, I remember when Space Jam came out, we got it on DVD, and I was like a teen at the time, and I was family with 3 other younger siblings. So whenever we had a long vacation, we would put Space Jam on. So those trips are what I remember most about that film. Looney Tunes back in action, that was when I was on the tail end of college. So it was like when I had like a more developed kind of tastes, and I looked back on the DVD.
Your grown-up appreciation
and
affected your nostalgia. Of the
Oh,
film.
sir, I'll have you know.
Yeah,
in the fandom we come by, people jump on you for daring to have taste.
Whatever. Which is a shame because, the Looney Tunes in that film are animated by the same guy who animated the genie. And I really wanted to like it, but the story is just all over the place.
Well, speaking of which, do you have any friends on YouTube or people you've worked with that you'd like to recommend?
Do I have any friends on YouTube that I would like to work with?
No,
Well, I've already worked
that you would be like, oh, this is a person you should go check out.
Oh.
I mean, after we're done looking at your stuff, obviously.
Yeah, have you got chilling?
Oh, some things that I would recommend to you? Like people on the...
Yeah, that'd work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy Palmer, or Jesse Palmer, I think that's his name, who animates for both anime and Western cartoons. He's worked on
Nice.
Motor City.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can do that. Apparently, you
Nice.
can do that. He worked on Motor City. He's worked on a ton of other things. He's worked on Black Dynamite. He's worked on... what's some anime that I've seen him do? I forgot. Which is odd, because I do watch a lot of anime, though, and I can't remember the titles of what he worked on in terms of anime. I think he worked on some space standy sequences. I don't know.
Nice.
Um,
Wow, that's a pretty big
He
guy there.
Yeah, pretty nice line of work.
He does phenomenal work. Let's see. LaShawn Thomas, who, as you know, headed the animation for Black Dynamite, as well as the last season of the Boondocks and Legend of Korra, and now he...
Whoa.
Yeah,
What?
he's the real deal. He's like a major animation lead director and supervisor. Like if
Damn.
you haven't seen his series Soul Sessions, Soul spelled the same way as the city, because that's where he worked on some of his shows. Soul Sessions, so you should definitely check that out. So let's see, who else? I like the Studio Yota guys. Studio Yota, which animates a lot of the more popular YouTubers' short animated projects.
Oh, yeah, like the Markipliers.
They do all the Starbomb Ninja Sex Party animated music videos. They worked a lot with Harry Partridge, who I also recommend. They're really good.
Is
They're
that
like
the Tamriel guy?
what? Who?
That's the one who does all the Tamriel songs.
Yeah, I think so. Animation studio. They remind me of those outsource studios from like Korea or something. Only they're in America, and they're a huge team of animators who will complete an in between and color in your own directions for a price.
So does Spaz Kid
commissions.
work with these guys, or?
I have not worked with these guys. I would like to, if I.
Anyway, you gentlemen are listening. He has very affordable rates.
Yeah.
Oh, Antony C is in the chat.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Hey, Anthony.
Oh, no, I don't think
Well,
he is.
he's not in the. He's
Not
not
in
in
the
the
call.
call yet.
Well,
No, I see his like comment, but he's not in the call. Yeah. Okay.
Something came up. Well, if he...
Get in here, sir.
I've seen a lot
We
of
started the
Anthony's
party without
videos.
you.
I've seen a lot of Antony's videos, and they're all very good.
Do you know who, when I was looking at your stuff, there's another animator that I know of that kind of reminds me of your style. I don't know if you know who he is or not. Do you know who Andrew Dickman is?
Sure, I know who Andrew Dickman is. He was one of the first animators I discovered when I was like perusing online for artists for the first time, like over like 13, 14 years ago. And now I listen to his podcast Animation Anarchy sometimes.
Yeah. It was just when I was like looking at your stuff, I was like, hey, it looks like Andrew Dickman here. It's pretty
Really?
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first time someone said that to me, but I'll keep that in mind.
It is.
Andrew Dickman. That's
Oh,
right.
this is the wrong Andrew. Not that Andrew. This is Andrew Tycho.
He's an artist. His name is his genuine last name is Dickman.
We're not kidding here. His name is Dickman.
Yes, Anthony C
It's
comes into the
unfortunate.
call and it de-evolves into 4chan shenanigans.
Anthony C enters with that
Dick
line.
line.
Dickman.
No, that's the name. That's the tagline of his DeviantArt page. Is Andrew Dickman? Yeah, that's right, Dickman.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You lady.
So currently hosting almost weekly podcasts with one of his friend Michael Rocco,
Yeah.
where they talk about lesser known and also recently watched animated movies, specials, and whatnot. And it's very good. You should listen. You should
The last one I listened to, they were talking about the Sonic anime that came out.
Seen that.
It was the ADV films one. It was a pretty old, pretty terrible one.
Oh, is that the one with
Sure,
the-
I've heard
Sonic?
about that. I've heard about the anime. I just haven't heard of the episode. I should probably scourge
Oh
anime.
no! It's actually a movie. It came out like way before the 4Kids,
Yeah,
stuff.
was that the one
Okay,
with
it's
the...
a movie.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that the one with the metal Sonic in it?
Yes, that's the one.
I'm saying I haven't seen that animated animation Anarchy episode. That's what I get on that.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's what I mean.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I wasn't listening, teacher. I apologize.
No. Say, Mr. Andrew, what video are you most proud of your work?
What video am I most proud of? I'm proud of my two major animated shorts, which are actually not on YouTube. They're on Vimeo. You could just Google Andrew Keiko Vimeo, and you could see the two of them there. In terms of what's on YouTube, I very much am pleased with the reception my Bone fan animation has gotten, Jeff Smith, which is based on Jeff Smith's Bone, and I took the audio from the Telltale video game based on it and animated to it for about 20 seconds.
I know. That was actually something I was thinking about asking. Was I saw your Bone animations? I was like, did you just do that for fun, or was it like?
It was for fun. It was when I was between jobs after the last layoff, which is the one I just told you.
Yeah.
And I want to need some things to do, and that's when I created a lot of my more different stuff. This was right around the time when Jeff Smith announced that a Bone movie would be developed with Warner Brothers with Animal Logic. Of course, but then the Lego movie happened, and now they're all like, "Hey, let's make 1 billion Lego movies." So
Of course.
That's out. I don't know if more news will come with the Bone movie now, but if it does happen and a trailer releases, I'm gonna animate over it in 2D.
I call that right now, That's my territory.
So you mentioned you were a fan of Anthony C's. Did you have any of his work that you particularly thought stood out?
Oh, get out.
I refuse to have Anthony just sit
That
on the
guy.
podcast and be quiet. Jesus.
Oh God! Well, I do like the one with. Unfortunately, it's of a My Little Pony episode that you hate, but it's for a Canterlot wedding.
If we
because-
would have thought about this, Kaiko, what I would have said is like, wait, you're the guy with the griffin, right? In the videos, right?
That's a different one, different guy.
I know.
I like that because it's very involved. It's one of the longer ones. It's one of the more entertaining ones, and it's a collab with Tommy Oliver. It's all very it's all very engaging. There's so much happening in that review.
Oh, thank you. It's actually got more animation in it than most as well. So I was like, oh no, Andrew's going to criticize my work.
I know that you
Real
follow
animator.
me on YouTube. You're one of my subscribers, so thank you for that.
I plug your stuff wherever I can. I love it.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You too.
Love Corey. I love him so much.
Oh, pally pals. Anyway.
That's totally not how we got on this podcast at all. Ooh, no.
Yeah.
Pony a little bit. I don't pony a lot. I'm a casual viewer who just, watches the episodes once and
I'd like to let
twice.
you know.
Filthy
casual.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Casual viewer, shun him.
I wasn't even going to bring it up, or rather, I was going to bring up as like, well, this is the part of the podcast where British Ninja asks you a bunch of cringy brony questions. I never touched the stuff myself.
I didn't even plan any, I thought we were going to stay away from that topic. But I always come prepared, so here's my list of brony questions. Well, you say that you're...
Who's your favorite pony? What's your favorite episode? Who's your favorite pony musician?
Did you like when this happened? Did you like this development? Did it totally contradict something that the writers got beforehand?
What do you think the writers meant and intended by this specific movement right here?
Who's
Frame
your
42.
Did you hate this mistake? Did you hear how they did this?
But you were talking, you're a fan of Antony C's work. I was thinking, are there any, you mentioned a little bit of Silverquill as well. Are you a fan of analysis?
I do listen to a few analysts, Antony C, Silverquill. Also, I listen to Dr. Wolf. Both Silverquill and Dr. Wolf are very soft-spoken and calm and composed in their presentations, which I really like. I don't watch a lot of them, though.
I have a question about animation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
What do you think of? I know this is really ridiculous. Does it irritate you when people make something that's really easy to animate and it just goes gangbusters? It's you put in so much work in your work. It's absolutely exquisite. It's gorgeous to look at. Why isn't this guy more famous?
And then some guy makes a dog in a bouncy airplane. You're like,
that happens a lot, actually, because animation takes a long time to begin with. Any kind of animation takes a long time to begin with, and it's strenuous. You have to plan everything. You can't just film something on the spot and have things happen. You got to plan everything beforehand, and you have every detail in production has to be intricate. Otherwise, someone can just pause it and say that you did that wrong. And when it finally goes out, you kind of underwhelmed with the reception. Like, okay, all that time.
Who would you
all that time?
All that time.
Which animator?
I see how it is.
Yeah, which animator or company?
Oh, I got three whole cents on YouTube from that. Oh, well.
Life well spent.
That 2.5 years.
Yeah, I was about to say of all the animation studios.
For the month. Earns me loaves of bread for the whole farthing. Anyway.
2 whole shillings.
Andrew, which
Yep.
animating studio gets all your schadenfreude? And is there anyone specifically that does real well? They're like, these people don't have.
What is my quote studio that makes me hate myself for the day? You mean?
Yes, since you said it's so delicious.
I do like this. I once watched this unfinished project of an animated short that was going to be an animated short, but was left uncompleted by a guy named Andrew Cresworth, I think that's his name, and he is a Disney animator. And right now he's working on one of their CGI films. Oh. And this is something he did on his free time. This is like my tidbit or my animated short. That's what he did. But he did everything in true traditional hand-drawn animation with an actual real-life pencil. Of course, he had a little bit of CG in it, but it complemented itself really well. He used a style from the 1940s, very rubber hose and bouncy and lively style. It was only a minute of it, and a lot of it was unfinished. And he said, "Yeah, I'm not going to finish this. This is just a thing I'm releasing, and it's never going to be finished." And I thought it would be, but my life is changing, and I'm going on to better things. So yeah, this is a thing. And I looked at it and said, "God, I hate myself."
This was your practice?
Yeah,
it was better than what you think you can do yourself for real.
But whatever. I mean, I don't let those things get to me because he had the right kind of skill and he worked really hard at it, and he deserves everything that he got. So yeah,
nice.
I think
what has he got now? What does he do?
Oh, just like an actual house, not an apartment with a wife and a dog and.
No.
There was a lot of stuff.
Oh, that's just life stuff. No. What series does he do?
Oh,
yeah.
He's been working on Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen.
Damn.
Utopia.
God damn.
All the most recent CGI Disney films.
Yo, I'm super excited for
Big Hero 6 and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Big Hero 6. Yeah.
Would you ever go pro? Want to go Disney pro?
That's of course. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't swimming through my mind every day. But
what would your preferred company be?
Well, first of all, I live on the East Coast. To do that, you really have to be where that kind of work is. Second, I don't think I'm good enough. And honestly, I don't I think the type of style that I like to work in complements the Disney style, even though I'm a big fan of them.
Is there a
It's all
preferred
3D
company?
now, but they still
Well,
do.
that's too, but yeah.
Is there a preferred company you'd prefer instead of
Is there a preferred company?
Yeah.
In terms of what animation I really like these days, I really like the work from Mercury Filmworks, which is in Toronto. If I went there, I'd probably have to get a service job for a year so I could become a Canadian citizen and so I can legally work there. As I said, I am teaching myself Toon Boom Harmony, and Toon Boom Harmony is their main tool that they use. That's why. Also, I like the team from Ireland that made Song of the Sea and The Secret of Kells, which are both beautiful animated pieces to look at. Just beautiful. Oh, and also Boulder Media, which now animates Wander Over Yonder. They took over that from Mercury Filmworks too. Boulder Media also animates the amazing World of Gumball and the Danger Mouse revival. Oh, and also the one that's closest to me is Titmouse. Titmouse is the New York studio. It began in LA, and
They do Venture Brothers, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe.
it's pretty much the only studio in Manhattan if you want to actually animate for a good living. Yeah, because there used to be a lot more of those in Manhattan, but times change and companies close and another company opens and whatnot.
Another one bites the dust.
Another one bites the dust.
Is it a good time for animation now? Do you keep track of that sort of thing?
It's a good time for a type of animation. In terms of the things that'll really get you the biggest bucks, you really have to go into feature film. And those are the most competitive, and you need to be the best at it. Oh yeah, and you probably need to travel. Because animation these days is a global effort.
How does that work? Well, I'm looking at you, like you've mentioned Mercury Films before, and it looks like they do a bunch of outsourced Disney stuff.
They are Disney's go-to digital 2D television animation studio. If you can think of a current Disney Channel or Disney XD cartoon that was done digitally in 2D, they are pretty much it.
Star and the Forces of Evil.
Oh yeah,
Like that.
the
Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Yonder, Pen Zero, Zero.
G-Force.
I'm not counting Gravity Falls because that's the characters in there, and those are animated traditionally, and it's to Korea or something. Also, there's those Two More Eggs, which is more of a web cartoon and is created by those two guys from Homestar Runner. Those are animated in Flash.
Ooh, the Brothers Chaps.
Yes.
The Brothers Chaps, yeah. I'm glad they went on to working at Disney. The Brothers Chaps even have done voice work for some Gravity Falls characters and some Pickle and Peanut characters too. Oh yeah, they worked on Yo Gabba Gabba and Hub Show. What's that Hub Show? The live action Hub Show from the Hub that I can't remember the name of.
Oh, is it the Aquabats?
The Aquabats. Yeah, they worked on those too.
So where do you see yourself in
Ever go
5
back
years?
to
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Okay, this is turning into a job interview, huh? I honestly don't really know. I'm. I
Have you
think
ever done that at a job interview?
well, I nailed it.
I'm gonna win the
I
lottery.
think that I'm not gonna stay at this agency forever.
You're
My
fine.
passion is still entertainment animation, so at some point I will probably like to move to work at one of those other cartoon studios again, like I've done with Animation Collective. Number one, I'd have to switch jobs, and that's always risky. And number two, it's really up to them to hire me because the goal isn't who I need, it's who they need.
So do you often have to try and versatile yourself to suit different jobs in the animation studio?
I mean, if this job ever ends, I would probably say, okay, time to train myself in a new skill or a new software program or something.
What's the biggest lie you've had to tell?
I would try storyboarding if the thing is that takes absolutely all hours of your life. That is a totally demanding job. It requires all hours of your life. One old friend of mine who used to work at the same studio, who is now trying to be a storyboard artist, she's currently in Japan meeting the pros there.
Japan.
Yeah.
Damn.
I want to go to Japan to meet storyboard artists.
Dude, I want to go to Japan just as a tourist,
Yeah, I know. Right?
I know,
You
right?
wouldn't work on any animes.
That requires unreasonable painstaking amount of hours to work in. You're basically doing the work of an old slave from centuries ago.
Jesus.
That's how demanding it is. That's how demanding it is. I'm not kidding. And they pay for below minimum wage too.
Oh, of course. I mean, over here, a season of a cartoon, if you're lucky, is 13 episodes.
Oh, sure.
Over there, they're like, no, we're getting 50 episodes out of you.
Well, they've done 13 episodes shows too. In fact, they do those a lot now.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
Well, for example, Donut, you said what was that one car animation the demo drags on that took 7 years of hand-drawn animation?
Redline.
Movie Redline?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've heard of Redline.
7 years to animate. 7
Jesus,
years.
I didn't know
Yes,
it was that long.
but that's by a studio that has a whole whole bunch of clout behind it.
Sure.
Like if they said, "Hey, we're going to take 7 years to animate this thing," everyone's going to be like, "Whoa, hey, they're making it's going to be great," you know.
I'm sure-
Other people, if they try that, it's like 7 years. No,
Yeah,
you better
I'm
start
sure
using
that
Flash, bitch.
Did they know they were
I
getting
have
into
seen
that when they
film
started?
in theaters, and it blew my mind. If you haven't seen that, you should go see it.
It's on
yeah.
YouTube. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
I believe
It's on
so.
YouTube.
Just think about that. Someone spent 7 years of their life so you could watch it for free on YouTube.
It's on YouTube, well, probably
Yeah.
illegally, but
That's
still.
pretty sad, you know.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
I mean, I'm sure it would be easier if I wasn't so concentrated on money, but then again, no matter what, money's always going to be a problem, so I guess I shouldn't worry about it.
Let's move on to something depressing. Have you caught the new Star Wars movie yet?
Of course I want to see the new Star Wars movie. I want to wait until the crowds die down.
Spoilers, they're everywhere.
No, I
It's
won't.
gonna be a zero.
I was just waiting to see
People are
British
gonna
Ninja
shut
hop
up.
out of the call the minute we start
Saying, like,
talking about it. He's waiting still.
Like, da, 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 da. And it's like, come on, guys, I can't hear what they're saying, guys. Like, I've been to conventions like that in panels where everyone's like humming the tune or laughing uproariously, and it keeps saying, "Calm down, guys. I can't hear what this character is whispering. Why he's whispering, I have no idea, but it's hard to hear it."
It reminds me of the Star Wars re-release when they remastered it. And it's funny. It's one of those, like, you know everything that happened already. The part where Leia winds up kissing Luke. Everybody in the audience is like, yeah!
Oh my god!
Ugh.
And the first film where he's like Errol Flynn, where he like does that swinging over the chasm, but that was in the 70s when everyone was emulating Errol Flynn. Of course, I'm excited to see it. I predicted the hype that I wouldn't be able to get away from online, so I'm just handling it pretty well.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. I just had my birthday last month, and my brother got me one of those tiny little app-controlled BB-8s, which is a ton of fun.
I'll tell you this: you won't want your money back.
You know,
No, and
it's-
they actually have a big thing that's actually called something that it does now. It's like, hold on. Okay, so you got a Star Destroyer that doesn't destroy stars. You got a Death Star that's not a star, and they got this thing called a Star Killer Base, and it's like, holy cow, they got it right.
They have a moon that's no moon.
Darth Vader knows how to name things now.
Yeah.
You have a moon that's not a moon. It's too big to be a space station.
You know,
I
one
did.
of my favorite things that's cropped up over the hype is there is a Google Plus extension which will scan your screen for anything that's mentioned with Star Wars and will blur it out. It is an anti-spoilers.
Oh God.
That's beautiful.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
I
It's
actually
fantastic.
That's
heard
great.
there was a theater that actually hired police officers to stand outside, and then as people were walking out, if they said anything about the movie that might
Beat
spoil
the
it.
crap out of
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, there must be like crowds there. How the hell can they isolate one line from another? How could they hear one voice on top of another?
I don't know. I'm
Like, just beat up the
Are
entire
you special?
crowd
Have to
with
be specially
tasers
trained
and
as a
pepper spray.
policeman to do that?
it's like
Could
wait,
it just be
it's
cheaper
getting
to-
spoiler.
Oh no, those guys are talking at the same time. I hate my job.
Can you
Like
just give a
Luke
bunch of nerds
Skywalker.
minimal wages and some merch and they do it?
Some plastic lightsaber, and you go whack that guy.
They buy at the end of the lightsaber. This isn't genuine. I want mint condition. Oh.
Say,
Yeah.
Andrew, what is your field of study?
What is my field of study? I went to college for a degree in illustration. Double majored though in film animation and video, which in the school I went to is all one degree, so on all one subject.
All right, this is a traditional question.
Mhm.
How much in educational debt are you?
How much? What's my social security number?
Well, you don't.
Well,
have
it's
to
a
give an
time-honored
exact
tradition. Don't worry.
number.
If you don't want to answer it, it's fine.
Oh, that's fine.
All right.
No, the way I like to
Oh,
look at
that's
it, like we
fascinating.
recognize that you're a very talented individual. So if people are wondering, should I follow animation? Just to let you know, if you're even as good as Andrew, this is what you have to look forward to.
I admit that I don't pursue a lot of the bigger jobs as much as other people. So there's always hope. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want to go for it, good for you. You have
Cool.
to be dedicated, very good, of course. And that comes from the education and the experience thing. Crazy and not always worrying about money, but still worry about money.
Oh, beautiful.
That is
Yeah.
crazy.
Also, I would recommend getting some skills in some kind of audio-related field like music or performance, oral speech, or, some kind of entertainment that is instant. Something that doesn't require sitting on your bum for like weeks and weeks on end to unveil it in front of a crowd and say, "This is what I did. Appreciate me." That becomes easier if you have some skill in something that is immediate, something that's live, something that you can make without in the moment, like acting or singing or playing music. music or something like that. I find that a lot of the most successful and happiest people tend to have a field in something audio related, which is interesting.
You mean podcasts or music or what?
There's no money in podcast, Anthony.
Well, I don't know,
Uh,
unless you're Kevin Smith or something.
Or maybe a interview podcast.
Yeah.
Lame. Oh, those never take off. What are you talking about?
I've been trying.
Unless you're like Rooster Teeth or something. Jeez.
It's 2005. I'm sure podcasts won't ever take off in 10 years.
Yeah.
Those darn Let's Plays, I tell you.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God, people won't make a full-time job out of that. I'm going to give you a little glimpse into some recent news, though.
Okay.
The next animation that I'm currently doing is a Game Grumps animated, and it's going to be brand new. So
You
get ready for that in
sellout.
2006.
No.
Dude, I've done like nostalgia critic work for like the past 2 years. Okay?
I know I'm joking.
Yeah.
If you're looking for something to
Hashtag
catch on,
it's a
all
joke.
something the kids are all eating, if you go for Undertale.
Forgive me if you've covered this already, but have you talked about that wonderful Pinky and the Brain thing that you've done yet?
We haven't talked about that on this episode
you
yet.
did
No.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
About
hired
that?
by Doug Walker to create that.
Oh, that was you?
That was me, yeah. And I did
That
those
was him.
Nostalgia Critic fan animations beforehand, and that's what actually got Doug's attention, saying, "Oh, those guys were
Damn.
doing like this, had this thing that needs to be animated." And I guess the timing worked out really well because I got it done in like a week. And I normally like to take my time on those kinds of animations, but I know Doug is on a 2-week schedule, so that had to be done. I had to seriously like delay everything else I was doing those evenings for the Pinky and the Brain animation.
I noticed you did the Mr. Magoo thing. I didn't know you did the
Sure.
Pinky Brain one.
Uploaded the Mr. Magoo animation. I spelled it as REVOO in the video. 2 days left. 2 days after that, that's when Doug emailed me about the job. 2 days
Nice.
after.
Hey, no, didn't you post off a clip of that on like your Tumblr or something? People jumped all over. Oh, look at
Sure.
you!
Oh, yeah, I like it when it gets spread on around the net. I decidedly like it less much when they don't credit me, but whatever. If I can, I'll like post a comment underneath saying, "Hey, I made this, blah blah blah. Came from here." When I do that whenever possible. Animators do a lot of work and they put a ton of heart and butt and sweat and tears and soul into it. So please just credit the right guys. It doesn't take a lot of time.
No, believe me, we'll definitely do that. What's a cartoon you feel went before its time that you wish you could bring back or maybe even work on?
I hear they're working
Oh,
on
the
Gurren
list.
Lagann.
If money weren't an issue.
This was just announced today. I hear they're working on a Gurren Lagann revival.
Really?
Jeez. We don't know yet if it's a show or a movie, even a manga, but
That's
there's going to be
interesting.
more
Seems
Gurren
so.
Lagann something.
There's a Gurren Lagann thing on the way. All must pay attention.
It's a slot machine. Pull the lever.
Whatever. It's another.
Pachinko.
Watch it be like another doll, and everyone's like, "Oh well, we could get those anywhere."
Somebody tell me.
Oh well, that piques my interest a little bit, but I can get those anywhere. I wish Symbiotic Titan would come back. Also, I wish we had more episodes of that old show Clone High, which I got to see in college. Actually, when I was a freshman, I got to see it as a freshman in college. I saw the ones that aired, and then the whole show was not aired on TV completely in the United States, at least. So I scourged the internet for the rest of them. 13 episodes of that. It was at the time when MTV tried to like revive some of their animation shows, the likes of which they had back when Liquid TV and
The Idiot Box.
whatever.
For supper, I want a party platter. No.
Oh, supper. Oh, yeah, party platter.
I want a party plotter. For soap bar, I want a party plotter. No, forget it, kid. No dry humping for you.
Throw some R's and R's in there. What's your hurry?
Hurry!
Watch your hurry. All right.
Well, let's do the
That
flip
was a
side of
genius.
that
I'm so
question.
glad those two directors went on for greater things, though. I'm all about the Lego movie. Yeah,
And then Disney buys it, makes Lego Star Wars a real movie.
because of course Disney has to own everything.
Yeah.
Of course.
Whatever.
Disney will one day own the world.
I wouldn't
Joke about that.
Maybe not until the
afraid.
next several decades, but
Well, that reminded me, there was a fandom animation where I think they had what was it, Mickey Mouse talking to Rainbow Dash. I think I'll buy Hasbro, and I looked it up and said, that's semi-possible? Looking at the numbers.
that's
It totally is.
semi-possible.
Yes, they'd feel it, but that's possible.
Disney making MLP. Gosh.
Well, we'd go out of... I keep hearing from when I ask people, it's like, well, look at it this way. You'd get the darker MLP you always wanted. And they're like, yeah, but they're a lot more copyright greedy, so we'd all be screwed.
Fair point.
Are they really more copyright greedy than Hasbro? Is that even
Ooh,
possible?
Yes.
It's Disney.
I'm disappointed that you have to rush to get some of the Pony episodes as soon as the last one airs. I mean, it used to be that you had you could wait like several weeks and just scourge an old Pony episode on YouTube and watch it there in HD. But now you can't. You cannot
Well, you can
because
download it.
they've gotten so
You
strict.
can download.
What?
There's Daily Motion still.
Oh yeah, but Daily Motion gets all the shows, so they have different policies there.
Yeah, they have no
you could get a lot of full
policies.
Kappa Mikey
They
episodes
haven't
on
been sued
Daily
by
Motion.
Viacom yet.
You could get a lot of full Kappa Mikey episodes on Daily Motion too, which unfortunately in America is the only legal way left you could watch them because they're no longer on iTunes, which is a bummer. Whatever.
Oh, what do you think of Uncle Grandpa?
I caught a lot of the first season. It's amusing. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to tap into this like idea that kids had one time, where like this Mary Poppins like character comes in and solves other problems, or at least makes them feel better about it, or gets them to a problem that they were really worried about. I think there's something very endearing in that. Unfortunately, the show often doesn't focus on that. It focuses on Grandpa's shenanigans with his buds.
You can say it's crap. It's okay.
No, I mean there's something there. I like the idea, but
look at it this way: you could get away with being negative on a YouTube. It's not like someone's going to go painstakingly through and timestamp everything.
Art style is the very Harvey Kurtzman style of drawing comics from like the Mad magazines or something. Yeah.
Is that the guy? He really.
No, it was one of the guys.
Do you enjoy a Mad magazine then? Do tell.
I've read a lot of Mad magazine. I know one major illustrator who worked for Mad magazine a lot. I don't know if he still is. Yeah, I know him in person. I see him now and then.
Is that something you'd want to do? Or you would be willing to do? For monies? Is to illustrate?
Well, sure. Yeah, I suppose if I approach them for like a freelance job.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Because I think pretty much most illustration jobs are freelance right now.
Have you ever had like a story or an idea in your head that that you can't do it yet because you don't think you're good enough? But have you ever had like, what would be your magnum opus of an idea for an animation?
I just told you I had these original characters, Norman and Corey. I did do an animated short with them. I would like to produce at least one half-hour long special, something that I would like to like challenge myself and be better and have work that's better than the last thing I did. Better animation, better like lighting and backgrounds and camera work. But that would require a whole team. It would also, if I brought them back, it would also be a good opportunity to animate this character Jerome, which is a woodpecker who was from the comics. He is just so fun to draw, and I know I would have a field day animating him. I would also have to find the right voice actor and pay him too. And also, by the story I wrote, all the bird characters in my story have the ability to sing, and not just sing like birds, sing like actual humans. Music is very tricky. You'd have to get the rights to, if you want to reuse a song that already exists, or you have to write your own and then get people with the skills to play music and sing too, and you have to retain the rights to those.
Oh, I was gonna. Are you a bit of a lyricist? Do you like to dabble with music?
Not really. No, I'm not much of a music guy. Sometimes I find myself doing good poetry, but it only happens like a few times or several times whenever I'm sleeping. And of course, when I wake up, I forget it all when I have to write it down. So, I woke up and I had this really good lyric. I'm gonna write it down. Damn it!
Dreams, they just pour through your fingers like sand and just go. Oh, damn it!
I'm gonna go
So
back to sleep and try to remember it. Really,
Keiko, what's your biggest distraction? What prevents you from creating your best work?
I'm gonna take a swig of water here.
It's the water. It's the distraction.
Yep.
Glass of water.
We've talked a lot about like animation and stuff. Like what kind of hardware and software do you use?
Pretty much do everything digitally now, except when I have to design a character from scratch. I find that I do it much quicker. I get ideas down much quicker if I draw it on paper. But right now I work on everything MacBook Pro. I do have Toon Boom Harmony, as I mentioned. I still have 2 versions of Flash in case people ask me to do it, or in case I find that I can only do a certain thing in Flash. I have a lot of the other Adobe products. Yeah, I use After Effects for final compositing and editing and sound mixing. And also I use Audacity to record Norm's voice, because as you know, I also voice Norm in the short and in Tidbits. And I also have a Blue Yeti mic, which I am using right now.
Good man.
What kind of do you use a tablet or anything, or?
I have a Wacom bamboo pen tablet.
Really?
Yeah, Wacom. I use a tablet. I can use a Cintiq, although I don't do that a lot because I don't own one myself. I can use it if other places provide it. What?
Everybody listening, go donate, get on the Patreon so we can afford a Cintiq.
Yeah.
Oh, how much did
That would help, but that would mean I would have to replace the screen, which would mean I would have to install another operating system, which would mean getting a new computer, which would mean replacing everything else I have. So I don't know.
I'm still kind of like, are you using a small Wacom bamboo?
What
Is
are
this
the
like
dimensions of this? Hold on. What are the dimensions of this?
the last time I ever saw someone? I used to have a Wacom bamboo. The thing was like 6 inches big. It was like tiny.
I can still produce all the work I do on it.
That's pretty impressive, sir.
I've found a way to make somewhat smooth, controlled lines in Flash if I really concentrate hard enough. Which a lot of people are impressed by also.
Pretty impressed. That's impressive.
I'm slowly trying to move away from Flash though, and
Yeah.
Learn other
it's always
softwares.
problems. So I've been
Adobe Animators is
long
about to be.
overdue.
How much did your tablet run you? You said it was a Cintiq? Well, just for
No.
the sake of reference, how much did yours run you?
This is like years old, so I don't remember exactly, but it was like
It's a
La-
Wacom,
last
right?
time, the thing is the Wacom bamboo is like a snowball is for microphones. A Wacom bamboo is for tablets. Last time I saw one priced was about $70.
I can't remember what exact, like $50 or $60.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I only ask because I have one of my peers, or rather closer to Anthony's, a gentleman named Tommy Oliver. He does a special covering tablets, and every last one he's like, oh, this one's $300, this one's $600. I go back to one of the rooms I'm in, and I'm like, how much did you pay for your tablet? Oh, $100, $60, $90.
Yeah, perhaps if you replace the computer and tablet, I would definitely replace it with some kind of Cintiq or a version of that from another company, like, I don't know, Windows has.
Shout out to Rebel Pixels, by the way.
Yep,
Yeah.
you need that channel.
I use old version of Photoshop. I don't use the cloud service yet or the subscription service, and it still serves me like it works like a charm. So
I still use CS3. I haven't had any
Sure.
reason to go beyond that.
I think I still have CS3, but I barely use. I used to use CS5.
Nice.
You whippersnappers, I'm still using Flash 8.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, didn't have to pay every month.
Back in my day, they'd release something and it'd be finished.
Time stipend of $3,000.
I'm still using Microsoft Paint.
What's inflation like these days? Was $3,000 like a stipend? It was like a hay penny. Yeah, okay. It was like a hay penny compared to that.
So, Andrew, aside from all the animation, this is a zero. Are there any authors or books that you're particularly fond of?
Books.
No pressure. Well, you're an animator. You have an excuse.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not much these days. I mean, I do want to read that Saga graphic novel. I did request it one time, so I'll probably just get it myself. I'm not really into a lot of the superhero comics or a lot of the most popular, like, novels these days.
Have we covered your inspirations, like in animation?
Somewhat. I mean, I did
think-
say I
I'm not
like
sure.
the animation of the genie from Aladdin, which is what inspired me in
Oh yeah.
the place.
But is there any specific animators that inspired you? This might be the
I'm also inspired by Jeff Smith, Bill Watterson, Chuck Jones.
Yay, Bill.
Shout out for Bill.
Chuck Jones.
Bill Watterson. He's like freaking Calvin and Hobbes, yes?
Yeah, yes. Shout out
Yes.
to Bill wherever he's hiding in and probably won't hear this. Shout out to Chuck Jones, who won't hear this either and will never.
The late great.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Lately, I've been into anime, and I've the director of Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill's work, Imaishi. Yeah, I also like Shushio's work, who also worked on the same shows.
It's nice to know you're into anime.
Do you consider anime and cartoons the same thing?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I go.
It's
I go
drawn
by
Well,
pictures
okay
and
then.
dictions.
of animation.
Yeah. Take note, people. An animator said that.
Yeah. Yeah, you dicks.
Stop arguing on the forums.
Animation is defined as a sequence of drawings shown in a set to create the illusion of movement. Anime is a set of drawings presented in a way that creates the illusion of movement.
Look, when even Brony can't define the difference or delineate any noticeable thing, it's like, just give it up. But when I look at your work, Andrew, I see a lot of Milt Kahl. Do you know of Milt Kahl, or is it?
Sure, I know who Milt Kahl is. He's one
Yeah,
of
you
the
know Milt
people
Kahl?
that created, like a lot of the great movements of the Mad Hatter and although maybe that was Ward Kimball. Milt Kahl animated. He animated Jiminy Cricket, right?
From since Jiminy Cricket. He was there since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, yeah.
Classic Golden Age Disney. So,
Man, I've seen his work of The Witch on The Thief and the Cobbler, which was one of the last major projects he ever did.
the Richard
Witch,
Williams
yes,
thing.
Witch.
Yeah.
with the folds of her skin like flapping around everywhere, and her whole body is in like perfect like dimensional
Desert Witch
acting and waving her arms and jumping everywhere, and like great, entertaining, like really inventive animation in that whole movie actually.
That for people who don't know, Thief and the Cobbler was like the last great auteur self-funded movie made by a guy who animated Roger Rabbit,
Richard Williams.
It was his life project, as he put it. I don't go on holidays. I sit here and I make this. That was going to be
like his all-time best, his magnum opus.
He set out to make the greatest animation ever, just the animated
hand-drawn film of all time. Studio interference got in the way, and it took years and years for it to be released, and Miramax finally a half-assed version was released under Miramax eventually, and then
they dubbed over it.
And this other guy made a recobbled cut, which you can view on YouTube right now, which I've seen in full, that preserved as much work as he could from the original cut.
And it didn't have the crappy, we have to explain to you what the characters are thinking going on.
The freaking what with the Matthew Broderick, was it?
Exactly, yeah.
That's a lot of fish. I don't care if the dulcet tone of Jonathan Winters is through the thief's head. The thief is Wile E. Coyote. He doesn't talk. The genius of the character is all in the pantomime animation. And these days, you really have to appreciate the way lines are used in animation in order to appreciate that film. And unfortunately, that's a dying art. There are not as many people these days that can appreciate something like that. The way lines can work, how much imaginative, creative stuff you can do with them.
Have you studied anything like the Animated Survival Kit or something more formal?
Did I ever go by a kind of Bible or a training book or something? In college, I used Richard Williams' Animator Survival Kit. That was pretty much the only kind of Bible I went by, because the school I went to was the Rhode Island School of Design, and they teach a theory of individualism, where don't teach you a house style. They let you train yourself in whatever kind of work you want. Especially the closer you get to senior year, where you create your own thesis and all that. As a result, a lot of the films showcased in like the senior show, the styles were all over the place.
There's a laissez-faire way of teaching.
As a result, that book helped me. It basically taught me how to animate a walk cycle, because half the book concerns walk cycle.
You mean like a gate?
Technical sides of animation, like the acting side or the emotional side. Then by all means, read Frank and Ollie's Illusion of Life. Richard Williams created the quote-unquote technical book on animation.
The stuff on walking is incredible. He breaks it down to timing and passing and all of basically spells it out as best he can in many ways, and it's amazing. And I love the bit in that book. He's explaining how one day he saw a guy walking, and he just saw like from behind a wall, he just saw his head moving.
It was not going up and down. It was just going in a straight line.
No, he instantly knew that this guy was gay, and he's like, "What?
Well,
I'm sorry, no." And he writes in the book, he's like, "No, I'm sorry, no, seriously, don't take me the wrong way. No, really, I just knew he was gay." And it's like, how did I only saw his head, and he wasn't wearing anything elaborate. He was just a guy walking, but I knew he was gay, and it's because he was an animator, and he knew that the guy, the way his head was moving, it wasn't moving up or down or anything like that. It was just sort of floating in a straight line.
Yeah,
and gotcha. How did he do that? How is he like wafting just in a straight line? And the only way to walk, if you're a dude on the street, is to do this chewing gum walk.
Yeah,
like you're freaking Bart Simpson showing off Elisa, trying to teach her how to wear high heels. Like, I'm starting to think I could win. And it's like that. And who walks like that but a gay guy? And it's like,
what if the end of that story? What if the guy came from around the corner, and it revealed that he was like on like a scooter or something?
He's on a
mobility.
Oh God! Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. I don't think to get on topic. I don't think films like The Thief and the Cobbler and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I don't think films like that can be made anymore. Actually, I think, which is unfortunate because, number one, people have moved on to CGI. They've basically gotten tired of that hand-drawn style and are trying to. Animation with hand drawings can come back. We'd have to find some way to make it look different than the Disney style.
Even though he's retiring now, Hayao Miyazaki, the Wind Rises, that was hugely and critically acclaimed, and that was That was mostly hand-drawn, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty much all hand-drawn because he closed his CGI department after Howl's Moving Castle because he wound up, we don't need this, so he closed it.
And that was a very big film. A lot of people went nuts over that.
There are times that I have hope for like the next generation because like I remember this one time I showed my nephew Cats Don't Dance.
Oh, Cats Don't Dance. Yeah.
And we watched the movie and he's just like completely just like not even moving the whole time the movie's on. And like I asked him when it was over, I was like, so what did you think about that? And his head like slowly turns towards me. And he looks at me and he's all like, I think that's the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Yes. Awesome. I love the kind of movement in that. Yeah, you really have to pay attention to everything that's going on because if you blink once, you miss something very important because the pace is just so fast.
I love the villain from Cats Don't Dance, the little girl with the giant bodyguard. Oh, that was amazing.
You know, she went on to get work later in that Batman cartoon.
I don't know. But the point is, I think I like the animation of that film just because it makes me happy, and that's the end goal of what I want to do with my stuff, just to make people happy. Trying to find other genres that animation can take on. I think Brad Bird wants to make an animated horror movie.
Ooh, yeah.
But I'm saying I don't think that kind of tone is something I would be happy with doing. I just to create stuff that makes people like happy.
I've seen some very scary horror animes. I mean, like the old Vampire Hunter D was pretty fucking terrifying at times.
Parts of Akira are really
exactly yeah.
Probably shouldn't have seen that nightmare sequence when I was almost a teen because
it's like I'm gonna go cry now.
Everyone change the warning to the color brown because I need a new pair of pants. Okay, honey, we'll go to Blockbuster and pick up Evangelion. It's right here in the children's section. Okay.
Nobody dies in that.
Go wrong.
What could go wrong?
You like Power Rangers, right? Yeah, this is about robots too.
We got the Transformers movie. Nobody dies in that.
Oh, look! Here's Watership Down. It's about bunnies. That'll be fun, right?
Bunnies.
Oh, dude! Like Watership Down was like one of my.
Looking that up. What are your thoughts on Peanuts? Like the Peanuts cartoon?
The Peanuts movie or the Peanuts cartoon?
Well, because the Peanuts, it's the same thing. Because the Peanuts the movie's like based on the old style, so it's reminiscent of the old animation style. It's
a direct warped version translation of the older animation because everything is basically the same. It's just run through a CGI machine.
Same as it ever was.
What they've done with that is genius. They were able to like alter the whole habit of animating and make it sway to Chuck Jones's Charles Schultz's own drawing style and take the inspiration from Bill Mendeliz's work. I did see that movie. I'm so glad that the animation turned out the way it did.
It looks pretty fantastic so far. The Peanuts.
I mean, sure, the animation as it is not the most fluid in the world. It doesn't.
It's not supposed to be, right? It's supposed to
it's not supposed to be.
They did like that thing that they did with the Lego movie, so they like posterized it, so it's like 12 frames a second or something.
The style of the Lego movie is inspired by those online stop motion animation that fans have done with Legos. You know, that very rustic, handmade stuff.
Yes.
So everything is on 2s or 3s, and sometimes the ocean that they had that was on screen, the waves were animated on 4s.
Holy cow! Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh!
It's just low frame rate to denote like a handed sort of feel. We don't have $1 million team behind this. We have 1 million people work, $1 million team, and $300 million. It's just us.
The people who animated the Red Wall animation was Nirvana. There we go.
Looney the Scourge. I remember this film.
Nirvana. Yep. Last Halloween, I went to a party dressed as Count Duckula.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I went with a cartoon because it's actually a spin-off of Danger Mouse, which I only found out this year.
It's a spin-off?
It's a spin-off of Danger Mouse.
Because I know Duckula, but wow. Tell us the story of Duckula.
Count Duckula character started as a villain on Danger Mouse, one of the guys he fought, right? And he was a very different character back then. His personality wasn't as developed, and he wasn't actually really all that entertaining. But they gave him a full makeover for his own show, and they gave him a backstory where anthropomorphic world, family of vampire ducks, have all the traits of usual vampires, and these two guys go into a castle and try to revive the next incarnation of Count Duckula. But, and the last ingredient, an amount of blood. They instead pour a bottle of ketchup into it.
Yeah.
And what results is a fake American accented, laid back vegetarian vampire. Very sarcastic and hardly wants to do any work. Has no interest in being coached in the fine points of being a vampire and whatnot. And the bulk of the show misadventures either in the mansion that he has or the trips that he makes around the world.
His magic teleporting mansion.
Yeah. The humor is all very British, very dialogue heavy. A lot of play on word, verbal stuff, but it's actually very entertaining. And there he had 2 assistants, Igor, his
Suffering butler.
Yes.
Won't you please be evil master?
The guy who wanted to train him into becoming a real vampire and is annoyed that he never has any interest in it. And there's also Nanny, who is the big nanny and who is just basically dumb. But, he is a dotting motherly figure and tries to help him out as best she can, so.
Quite frankly, my Skype's been crashing for like a half hour now.
Really?
Oh,
No, the recording is still going good. It's strong.
Okay.
Actually, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. That's fine.
That's fine. I don't need to get any sleep.
It's Christmas. Yeah.
You guys do this, or do you guys do some heavy editing with this?
No, honestly.
Oh, I
no.
do. I always have to. I'm the one who does all
Honestly,
the
it's been a blast talking to you all.
Oh, it has. I
Likewise,
loved it. Are you kidding me?
likewise.
I was like, oh.
It's been a blast to meet you, too.
How would Corey sign us out?
You mean the one I voice?
How would Norm sign us out? Yeah,
Sure.
because
I voiced Norm. So let me think. You all have a golden day. See you back at the library tomorrow. Salutations.
That's beautiful. Well,
All right,
Andrew,
I'm
if
going to end
you-
my recording now.
yeah, Andrew, if you had a beautiful enough time, I'd be glad to have you back if I ever have some other animators or someone you could have in common
Yeah,
with or whatever.
Prince.
I felt bad because I know nothing, and I'm like,
I ran out like a half hour ago and they kept
Oh,
going, and I was like,
yes.
oh, okay.
Well, now you can go to my channel. Probably should plug my YouTube channel.
Oh, no, believe me, it'll be at the top of the description.
Yeah.
All right, sure. It'll be in the description. All right.
Certainly, I'll include that in your Patreon as well, sir. Take care.